This message is brought to you by Apple Card, Shave Ice by the beach, a trip to the state fair, and a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins, Propel hydrates better than water to help you get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't undo your last hire. The human postponer. They were the master of one phrase. I'll circle back on that. But 3 months later, you were the one doing all their work and wondering how big that circle is. But LinkedIn Hiring Pro can take the hiring load off your plate by automating the hiring busy work from the initial job post to scheduling interviews. Hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post a free job today at linkedin.com/quality.
From the Fifth Quarter Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, you're listening to Coach Unplugged. And now, your host, Steve Collins.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coach Unplugged. I'm so happy you decided to join us. Before we jump in, I don't do this every week, but I would love if you went over, left a review, left a comment. I listen to all of those. Give me some topics. Send over to Steve at teachhoops.com. What kind of topics do you want to hear? But before we jump into today's topic, I'd like to give a big shout out to our two sponsors. First of all, Dr. Dish, the number one shooting machine on the market. I've tried them all, and this is not only how innovative are, but the workouts and what I love about Dr. Dish is they give back to the community. If you follow them on Facebook, if you follow them on Twitter, they're always giving back to the basketball community. And you mentioned Coach Unplugged, they'll give you $450 off. Also, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. It is a one-stop shop for basketball coaches. It's resources, it's handouts, it's videos, it's one-on-one calls, it's office hours. It's a coach. It's a resource run by a coach for a coach. It's not an ex-coach, not someone that's been let go, not someone that's coaching part-time. This is what I do. And Teach Hoops helps me keep the bills on. It helps me put up these podcasts, 13 podcasts a week. Teach Hoops helps me be able to do that. And it's a roadmap for you to be successful. And let me help you in this great journey that we call coaching. But let's head off to the podcast.
So Coach Anderson, I'm going to have you introduce yourself, kind of tell your Spark Note, Cliff Note version of your history, and then we'll jump into some of the unique things you guys do in your program.
Well, I just finished I'm from Andale, Kansas. We're a small 4A school in close to Wichita.
Okay.
Just finished my 21st year as a head coach. I was 16 years at a school just north and east of here, and then I just finished my 5th year at Andale with a 6 years as freshman boys coach between. So I think I've been in this game now 31 years or something total with everything I've done. And
what do you think the biggest changes you've seen? It's a side note, has nothing to do with what we're talking.
I'd say being able to work with kids. When I first got into it, only 2 kids could play on a team in the summer. You couldn't work with your kids, and now you can really build a program now more than when I first started.
Right.
And I've changed a whole bunch too. I could do a whole deal on my first practice schedules to what I did 5 years ago. Probably the biggest change for me has been when I took the freshman boys job. We practiced in the morning for 90 minutes, and you had to get everything in. You had to be done by 7:25,
Right.
And that made me a better coach. So,
and I tell the young coaches that are listening, especially we've all been freshmen. If you haven't been a freshman coach, you're very unique. But you should always coach at different levels. But one of the things I remember a veteran coach told me when I was a freshman coach was, he said, "You're going to have 18 kids or whatever at the freshman level. He says, coach from the center of the court, Steve. Coach from the center of the court.
Oh, yeah.
And I go, I don't know what that meant. He goes, I basically had to herd them. Like, it's like, you want to keep them busy because if they're standing, it's not good. But you want to be. It taught me those lower levels made me the coach I am today, along with some of the mentors I had along the way. But don't coach where you are at too, is what I'd say to a young coach. Coach where you're at.
I agree. I've never tried. I've only interviewed for one other job, I think, or two other jobs,
right.
And that's because somebody called me, and I never had. I mean, when I took the job at Valley Center, I was planning on being there forever, and they fired me, and we went and the 6 years I had off was good though. It really recharged me, and you see the game differently.
You do.
I
think it's totally different. Like I've had waves in my coaching too. Like with my son coming up was a different wave. This has given me, this whole being off has given me a new, like, I think the first 2 weeks of this quarantine, I was the most relaxed I've been in 30 years because I couldn't do anything.
Right. Yeah, me too.
I mean,
I still didn't feel like I still feel like I'm rested, but I'm not rested. I had shoulder surgery March 17th. I know
you did, yeah.
And and then and then we rode up to Kansas City to visit my parents 6 feet apart.
Right.
And so I was in a car for 6 hours, and now I can hardly get out of bed because my back is. I've been walking, but it's just pain. But
I know.
No,
the problem
I don't know what else.
Your cycle's all messed up. That's what
there's no doubt.
I went to bed at like 2 yesterday morning because I was doing stuff. I was doing work and stuff. All right, so let's dive into what's unique about your program. People always love learning about building programs. They love about what's unique to programs. I think that's what, for the coaches that are listening, and I've said this on podcasts over the last 3 weeks. There's a lot of stuff out there. You have to pick what's good for you. I call them golden nuggets. Find those golden nuggets. I have a little piece of paper that when I find, I've never thought of doing that, or that seems like a unique thing. And that's what I think I love about these. I had one coach tell me that he had the winners run. I go, what do you mean? He goes, when you do a content. I've never even thought about that. He goes, yeah, well, they want to get better. He goes, I don't do it early in the season, but I do it later. It's like, wow, I'm going to try that. That's great. So it's those golden nuggets. So that's what I'm hoping Coach can get golden nuggets.
Well, and I'd say first of all is now that I'm older, I know that there's stuff that you're not going to get done.
Right.
But I'd say flexible coaching. Our gym situation. Now we are getting our new gym will be done, but we've had a shared gym with our middle school. So when we start the season on Mondays and Thursdays, you're either going early in the morning or you're going in the gym that's only about 65 feet long, and it is the correct width. So there's some things you can do.
Okay.
So you've got your half court spacing where you can do some stuff, and so I become much more flexible. Just to give you an example, we got to go after school on the first day of practice. Our boys really don't care because they're still in football, but anyway,
right.
On the Thursday we were either going to have to go in the morning or use that small gym. So I decided this year something that, and I think we'll continue to do it, is we hand out all our uniforms on that Thursday right after school. We sit down and we go over our handbook, what it means to be an Andale Indian, all that. And then we go over for about 45 minutes and do a little bit of install in that small gym, just our half court stuff. Then we can do some full court stuff on that Friday, and then have our, kind of our scrimmage on Saturday where you're kind of looking to see. But that's something that we've done. And I try to look ahead and instead of saying, God, why don't we have a gym? You figure out how to get more done on different days. The other thing I've become, we have a deal called clinicals that our kids that want to become nurses. My point guard missed 8 of our first 17 practices because she had to go to these clinicals.
Right.
And actually she was supposed to miss 8, but they worked with us. And I said, hey, you've been in our program, you know what we're doing. So I've become much more flexible with that. And then I've got a kid, and you'll see her sister on the huddle clips. Her sister is in the national javelin program. She was my best player as a sophomore, but she had to miss in the middle of the season. She went to Louisiana the last 2 years to go down and work with the national javelin program, and she misses about 4 days. She misses a game. In my early coaching career, I wouldn't have let you go out.
Right.
And I want the best athletes now, if that makes any sense. So
No, that makes total sense. So
Yeah.
I love the I was talking to a coach about practice plan. I think it might have been a G League coach, and he believes that those mental walkthrough things, he always does all that stuff at the beginning of practice. I love that idea too.
Yeah.
In the sense that that's when it's like waking up in the morning. I'm probably the most focused because we're doing this in the morning.
Sure.
Probably the most focused of the day right now, or maybe
no doubt.
at the end of the day. So I think that's very intriguing. I think that creative thing always has to be there. You're right. I think I think age makes you more, in some respects, makes you more flexible. I've become in some aspects of my life, I've probably become less flexible as I've gotten older.
Sure.
But I think in my coaching, I've gotten more flexible. It was more like, we this color shoes and we had to do this. And I think I've gotten much more lax on that. Because I'm reading the generation too. I'm trying to read my audience. I think that's a big part of it.
Oh, no doubt.
So wow. So okay. So what's the new high school? How many courts and baskets gonna have in the new high school?
It's basically it'll have a running track at the top, and I mean it'll be big. So we'll have our competition gym that we're playing in right now will become our second gym.
Okay.
The grade school that I'm at now will have that gym that they've been sharing with us. No, they have the big one that they play games in. That's what we usually practice in.
Okay.
But they have games on Mondays and Thursdays. So anyway, so that's an adjustment that we've had to make. And then the other thing, we don't go to school the week of Thanksgiving. That's our second week of practice. So we're able to go longer, and I don't kill them the first week. And then the second week, that's when we get a lot more of our shooting in. And, we go from, and we always start, our freshmen go from about 6 to 7:30. We'll practice our lower end sophomores. They'll scrimmage the freshmen till about 8, and then we'll go, 8 to 10:30 with our varsity, and then they can stay and get shooting in.
You do that. You do your scrimmage the first week.
I've done a lot more. Yeah, we'll scrimmage that first Saturday.
See, I used to do that. I got rid of that. It was useless to me.
When I say we scrimmage, it's controlled, but I'm a whole guy. I've become a lot more. I do everything I can, and then we don't play till almost the fourth week because of football.
Okay.
So what I do is I really start harping on the fundamentals the week before the first game and make sure that I have everything in, and then what to work on. So I've made those adjustments. And I think I talked to you about this when you interviewed me last summer, but the one culture thing that we have is we start practice the same way every day. And I got this from Coach Knight when he was older. He said, if I went back, he said, we'd start with shooting every day. And we do. Our kids all get close to the basket and start doing form shooting the second they get in the gym. I walk around and talk to them, and then we'll yell out, okay, partner shooting or whatever. And then we try to go faster and faster that first 10 minutes, and we're going to always end with a hand in the face or a competitive shooting drill. But that's how we always start practice. We've thrown in some of the Snow Valley box drills and some individual, we call them dribble outs, so they can get their footwork. But during that 10 minutes, I'm walking around talking to kids, and then I'll blow the whistle and I'll say, okay, dribble outs. And they know what to do. And that's how we always start. And then early in the practice, I really like to get a competitive drill going early in the practice, and get them up and down. And then we, of course, do guards forwards. I have a tremendous forwards coach, and I'm not that great a guards coach, but she's always asking. She goes, I need 5 extra minutes, and whatever she wants, I'll do. Now sometimes we'll just do breakdowns together, but. And
I told coaches it's like how you start your class every day. If you start your class, it's how you start practice is so important.
Yeah. And another thing that we do, to mix things up is like the first day last year of summer, we had
This message is brought to you by Apple Card, Shave Ice by the beach, a trip to the state fair, and a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins, Propel hydrates better than water to help you get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
we've got 4 junior highs that feed into our high school. So I made the rule that we had 6 seniors. So every senior had to be at a basket. They could have no more than 2 juniors and a kid from Colwich, a kid from here. Well, they didn't read the practice schedule, so I made them do 5 push-ups and then then read what they were supposed to do, and they figured it out. But we will do that. We'll switch. We'll say, okay, hey, we need you guys in these groups today, and it just to kind of change it up, because you know how it gets in February. Everybody comes out, and our kids talk a little bit during that. They're coming out of school, and it's time for them to unwind, and I'm not real picky as long as they're getting some shots up.
Yeah, we do a minute of meditation to start practice.
Well, I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
I'm telling you, the boys asked for it when I would forget to do it, because here's the reason I did it is, and it's hard for me. I'm running from my classroom down.
Oh, sure.
It's they asked for it when they said, well, when's that we get our minute? And the reason we started is I said, leave that part of your life behind. Now you're coming. It's literally like a transition.
Right.
Otherwise they're in their locker room, they grab the stuff, they come in, they do their warm-ups, blah, blah, blah. There's no transition. And it's like, this is your minute of, and to be honest with you, they don't have a lot of silence in their lives. Like,
there's no doubt about that. Unless they're just text and look at their phones.
Yeah.
Certainly.
So that minute of like, close your eyes, feel your breathing. I have one of my assistants do it like the first week or so. They kind of almost start freaking out. Like, what is this? And it's like, well, this is what happens when you walk in the woods and you don't have any AirPods.
And I think that's tremendous.
And it's like, yeah, I love that. I mean, it's something for young coaches to think about. I mean, I've only done it for a couple of years, and it seems to have been working to make that transition a little bit better. And then go to work. Yeah,
and I'll get to something real quick too, but Steve Henson talked at a clinic. He's a great shooter for K-State, and he was with Lon Kruger forever. And even if they had a practice schedule, Lon made sure that everybody was squared away before practice starts. So he'd go around, and that's kind of what we do, is we go around and we'll talk to kids if a kid had, if they weren't shooting the ball well or whatever. So, and I don't always put times on. Early in the year, I'll put times on. Sometimes I'll hide the times of, so they don't always know when we're going to get done, but we never hold them. There'll only be a time where I'll say, okay, hey, you guys owe me 10 minutes because we didn't get this squared away.
Right.
You'll have a chance to get it back tomorrow. But, and I would say the other thing that I've learned that we do, we used to do all block practice. I mean, all block practice, hey, for this 30 minutes, we're going to work on defense. And for this, and everything was blocked. And now we've become more random, and I don't even know who I got that from. I might have got it off your podcast or, Chris Oliver or somebody like that. But, and I do, we try to put, if we are doing some block practice, we'll put shooting drills between it. I'll say, okay, pair up, shoot to 10. All right, 32, 3-player, 2-ball, first team to 5. And we always do the positive conditioning stuff. The winning team gets to do 1 push-up. The second place team that gets to the circle and all that gets to do 2. And, we always talk about it as that. But, what I would say is we've always been whole part whole. And passing and catching is real big to us. I think you asked about what our defensive you want to talk about defensive philosophy and different things. I think I put that in there. Yeah. I think your defensive philosophy starts with taking care of the basketball and avoiding pick sixes and 2-on-1s. There's no defense for a pick six. there's no defense for a 2-on-1. Now there is a defense for a travel,
Right.
because you can set your D. But probably the only thing that I'm a little bit different about is I did go back this year and do a little bit of 3-man weave. And everybody knocks it, but we did some 3-man weave perfection drills starting in February. And
Right.
And I told our kids, I said, if we're going to get better, I said, I'm going to be the passing Nazi, and Coach Geist is going to be the rebound Nazi. And I said, and I had done these drills earlier, but we do 3-man weave down and back. And if you miss the layup or there's a fumble, the passer and the receiver, and I had teams that would do this on their own without me saying a word, passer and receiver have to grab a ball off the rack and run a lap with the ball over their head.
Right.
And then they get back in line.
Right.
And so we do that, and we don't do it a whole lot, but then we'll go straight into hardly ever do we do anything 5-on-0 until the end of the season when we need our legs, but we have added defense to everything.
So couple talking points. First of all, 3-man weave, you're right. We do less of that than we did 30 years ago. Here's my theory, and this is from the teacher in me more than, well,
sure.
When you're a basketball coach, you're a teacher. So the new movement is all game-based,
yes,
blah, blah, blah. I 100%. So it is similar to how you teach math. You can't only do cooperative group work and not teach them. No, I'm just saying that's what I don't think some of these coaches get. And I get it. And great. But I can't teach them algebra if they can't add. So so the game-based stuff is fine, but that's only a portion of my practice. And I think that's what's getting lost with this. I agree. I think the data behind it and making decisions and all that stuff, 100% agree with it. All the data agree with it. But I can't spend an entire practice or run all my practices that way. That's not real. That would be like me only doing cooperative teaching in my AP stats class. If I only do cooperative learning, they're not going to learn everything they need. So sometimes I got to lecture. Sometimes I have to give them investigative stuff. Sometimes I have to give them group stuff. So I think that's what's being lost here is like, I got to be in this camp and then I got to be. So absolutely 3-man, never do it in the game, but you do passing. You do.
You have to hit people on the run and catch and learn how to lead. Here's probably the best explanation I've heard, because Chris Oliver had Don Showalter on the other day, and I don't know if you listened. I know you're doing podcasts all the time.
I don't tend to listen to basketball podcasts.
Right. Well, but here's one that I truly believe in, because Showalter, at Snow Valley, we do dribble, pivot, pass.
Yep.
No defense and all that, and we're working on pivoting, and there's, Brian McCormick and some of those guys will say, well, that never happens in a game, blah, blah, blah. And Don said, he said, I agree. He said, but you have to start at a basic level. And the word he used is you have to let somebody do a drill where there is no fear of consequences. If you want a kid to use their left hand, you can't just go out and play a game. I've played golf all my life. And if I'm trying to change my grip, I cannot just go out straight to the golf course and play in a competitive match with somebody, because I'm going to try to win. So I'm going to go back with what feels right. And so that's what he said.
And I think Coach Oliver's awesome. I think he's awesome. What did he say to that? Does he? I mean, because I know,
and that's what he said. The only thing he does is he will start a 3-on-3 competitive drill, and then he will say, okay, hey, now we need to work on this, and then they'll go back and work on it.
So he's doing whole rather
than and that's and there's nothing wrong with that. But anyway, so that's one of the things.
And I think that's part of the question of why. This is what I was talking to other coaches. This is the why. Like, I've literally, I've been experimenting with my practices because I'm not 100% happy with the flow and all these kind of stuff. And I did something last year, and I don't do it every day, but I run practice like a game. Like,
sure.
And they love that, because I said, today we're having a game practice. We've got our warm up. which is some of that shooting stuff, meditation, blah, blah, blah. And then we have our first half. We play halves. First half, then we have halftime where we literally will sometimes leave the gym, go watch film, do something, then come back to the second half, then do our post game. They love it because it feels like they're playing, quote unquote. They're not. I mean, that first half, we're still working on the stuff we want to work in. It's how I'm compartmentalizing it.
Right.
And they asked for, we playing a game today? We playing a game today? I go, well, no, because we got to do some other stuff and we have to do some skill work. But we need to do some station. It's not going to work. But so I think that's where this game-based practice, I think, has been innovative. It's great. I worry that a lot of these young coaches are going that way. 100%. It's like,
right.
You're gonna miss stuff if you do that, because
we still stand across from each other. You and I each have a ball and we throw it to each other and it hits my left hand and I slap it into my right hand and I throw it back to you.
Yeah.
And we work at the girls level. If you want to be a good zone team, you better be able to throw a skip pass, and we've got to get better at that.
And footwork is one of those things.
Feet. That's all I watch is feet.
Footwork is like, I get that, but you got to break footwork down to the minuscule parts.
Well, you cannot. I'm sorry. You cannot develop a shooter until you get their feet, because their feet dictate why their elbow goes out, and it's all about strength. And but basically, we have. We really stress passing and catching, but I have added a lot of the decision training stuff, and I'll show you a drill that we came up with a long time ago. What
percentage of your class you think, or class of your, that was a Freudian slip, of your practice is game based?
Oh, I don't know. Probably at least, I don't know. Probably 40 to 50%. I mean, we've gone to a lot more 5-on-5. When we have a 3-on-1 continuous drill where we're working 3-on-1, and we'll put, we'll do the constraints up. We have a deal we call 2-line straight layups, where we just pass back and forth, go down, shoot a layup. Well, we put defense down there now, and
it becomes a mathematical problem for me too. I do a lot more of it early, but all of a sudden we'll be playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday in a week. It's like, great. I got to spend at least this 20 minutes getting ready for these teams.
Oh, no doubt.
That and work on situations and stuff like that. So that's where it gets cramped a little bit.
Hey, everybody. I hope you're enjoying this. Make sure, if you want to hear more, go over and check out teachhoops.com for coaches who want to get better. If you want to hear other podcasts, go over and check out High School Hoops and Teacher Side Gig by Coach Collins. And subscribe, like, review all of them. 5-star reviews would be nice. Have a great day.
Thinking about upgrading your sleep? Now is the time to shop Sleep Number. Trusted by millions for nearly 40 years, Sleep Number offers superior comfort, personalized adjustability, temperature benefits, and value that is unmatched in the industry. And right now, during the Sleep Number Labor Day sale, all mattresses are on sale. Invest in your sleep and experience firsthand Sleep Number's personalized comfort. Stop by a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com to learn more.